Saturday, January the 14th, the Saturday, January 14th edition of the OBX Wave Report. For this morning, it is a cold, dark, and stormy morning here in the Outer Banks. There's a thick layer of cloud overhead. The winds are whipping in from the north. The trees are dancing in the wind, and offshore we've got gale warnings as relatively large waves break on the coastlines. And looking at the geo color composite by NOAA, we see both the frontal boundary that is now far offshore. This one swept through on Thursday and Friday, bringing severe weather to the southeast US, a big rash of tornadoes. Apparently, Tornado Alley is shifting from the central US to the Mississippi River Valley more than a little bit. There's still certainly high frequency of tornadoes here in traditional Tornado Alley, but the numbers have been falling off even as the numbers of tornadoes have been increasing here across the south, Gulf region, like Mississippi, Kentucky, um, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, this region, even possibly into western Georgia a bit. So, but with this most recent impulse of severe weather we had, I think it was in the 30 odd tornadoes, and one of them apparently was an EF3 or 4. So very powerful storm sweeping into the southeast US. Here in the Outer Banks, we did get some gnarly weather with some thunderstorms, and that was late in the night. We had a few thunderstorms roll through, and there were definitely some very stormy conditions yesterday as the front swept on through, bringing in the colder air. And right now we're dealing with a coastal low or at least a coastal trough just offshore that's bringing in strong winds from the north and cloudy conditions. And this is expected to develop, this disturbance is expected to develop into a coastal low, linger off the US East Coast, and then recurve into New England or Newfoundland in that region. But for the beach conditions, it's rather cold in the lower to middle 40s with with gale force conditions in the near offshore environment. So very stormy. Waves are in the range of 3 to 7 feet at many locations, and so very intense weather here, or I don't know about very intense, pretty intense. I don't want to overstate it. Pretty intense weather here on the Outer Banks today. Definitely very stormy. And I do just want to note, looking out west, we do have another storm system that is hammering on into California, particularly affecting northern and central areas. So no respite for California yet, and we hope that there is a respite soon. Some of the longer to middle term models show that this most recent bout of storms is going to be stronger than following storms, and that storms may tend to taper off. We'll see. But for right now, California is still under the gun for extreme weather, at least over this weekend and into Monday. So please pay attention to your weather experts and your emergency management officials, and please stay safe and avoid those floods and landslides and severe snow impacts and all of the heavy winds and all of that, and stay safe. Okay. I'm talking about this as I'm talking about surf and cold conditions and gale force conditions, but yeah, please stay safe. All right, so going down to the National Weather Service radar picture, we can see that area of disturbed weather off the coast that is gathering steam to form a bit of a coastal low here. And we can also see that the gale warnings are up. And if you look at the precipitation, we do get some of that precipitation kicking on back over the Outer Banks, affecting, it looks like areas from about Nags Head on south with light rain. Right now here at Manio, we don't have rain hitting the surface, but it looks like we're right at the edge of the rain, and looking outside, it's very dark and cloudy. So It's got a very nor'easter feel to it right now, this morning here at Manio. And I'll get down to the beaches and do some observations, hopefully get a video or two for you. We'll see. But yep, those are the conditions. We got strong winds on the coast here, and in the near offshore environment, we've got gale warnings all up and down the Outer Banks with strong northerly winds coming in. Almost out of due north, maybe with a little northwest component right now. All right, so let's see. Looking at the infrared satellite shot, we do see this swirl here. And this area of disturbed weather is expected to spin up into a coastal low, as I mentioned before. We see the frontal boundary here, just offshore, lurking offshore with wow, cold, intense cloud tops, more severe weather out there. Just looks like it's near the Gulf Stream, so tapping into those warmer waters to fire up those thunderstorms in that frontal system. And then we've got another storm here out west, just slamming on into California, and that's just atmospheric river coming in, fueling these storms with a lot of moisture. And this one, I don't think appears to be a bomb cyclone, but still a strong storm. So again, stay safe out there, guys. All right, so looking at our locations for the Outer Banks today, we're gonna go a little bit north. I don't typically go north, but we're gonna go north today to Avalon Pier up in Kitty Hawk. See if I can find it. It's up here somewhere. Let's see. I might have zoomed in too much. Here we go. Avalon Pier. So Avalon Pier right now is experiencing 3 to 6 foot waves, and the primary swell is coming in. I say 3 to 6 foot. There's waves coming in at the primary swell might be as high as 6.5 feet. Waves are building with those strong northerly winds, and strong northerly winds are onshore. And so 3 to 6 foot plus right now, with the primary swell with those 6.5 foot waves coming in at 7 seconds, and the secondary swell coming in at 9 seconds. Winds are out of the north northwest at 30 miles per hour, and I say north northwest, it's just a tick west of due north. 30 miles per hour, very strong conditions, near gale force onshore flow here, powerful onshore flow. And in the offshore environment, it's a gale. It's gale warnings are up. Air temperatures are 43 degrees Fahrenheit, probably a little bit colder. I don't know. Maybe this observation station's running a little hot. Ocean water temperatures 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Weather conditions, high today is not going to get above the low 40s. Temperatures are going to fall throughout the day with that strong northerly flow. Cloudy conditions, high winds, gale force conditions offshore. If you do get into the water, it's going to be rough, stormy, cold. Do all the things to protect yourself. You're going to need your cold weather gear definitely today because it's going to be getting colder and colder and colder, and you're going to need to be safe because surf conditions are going to be pretty rough and gnarly out there, particularly with those very strong winds running in, chopping up the waves. Going to be a lot of whitewater. Waves are going to be coming in at a bit of an angle to the coastline and coming in with a relatively high frequency there with that 7 second period. So um, be careful and stay warm. And then we are going to go out to Jeanette's Pier. And right now, the wave conditions at Jeanette's Pier are 3 to 6 feet with that primary swell coming in at 7 seconds. Waves in the primary swell also close to 7 feet. So swell indicators are indicating about 7 foot waves, and then the beach monitors are indicating 3 to 6 foot waves. So it's possible that the swell is building faster than the beach monitors are catching up. But in any case, waves out here at 3 to 6 or 7 feet. Primary swell coming in at 7 seconds. Secondary swell coming at 9 seconds. Winds are out of north northwest at 29 miles per hour. So strong to near gale force conditions out there off Jeanette's Pier with north northwest winds. This is an onshore flow. Air temperatures 40 3 degrees Fahrenheit, ocean water temperature 51, so not much warmer than Avalon down here at Jeanette's. Definitely cold. Make sure you take care of your cold weather protection. Weather conditions for today is that there's a chance of rain, highs in the lower 40s, and we have a gale offshore. Now let's go on down south. And most of the beaches here are experiencing similar conditions right now. We're going to head on down south past Oregon Inlet, past the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge, past Rhode Anthony, Waves, Salvo, and Avon, all the way down to Buxton. And right now, Buxton is experiencing 4 to 7 foot waves, again with a primary swell coming in at 7 seconds and a secondary swell coming in at 8 seconds. North winds are coming in at 32 miles per hour, and this is a cross shore wind. Air temperatures are 47 degrees Fahrenheit with an ocean water temperature of 63, so a bit warmer down there in Buxton. Weather conditions are high temperatures today in the middle to upper 40s. Chance of rain. According to the radar, it's raining right now down there. And we have a gale offshore, so cold, stormy, 3 to 7 foot waves all up and down the east-facing beaches of the Outer Banks. If you get out there, it's going to be gnarly. We definitely have those gales in the offshore environment. All right, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about the weather. Right now, we've got this little impulse on the offshore, and that is expected to swirl up into a low pressure system off the mid-Atlantic and then track on to the east slowly, blocked up by this high pressure system to the east. And there's a high pressure that's like running in behind it and is expected to move beneath it and shove it into the northeast or Newfoundland. So here you go. The high pressure is building in behind it. The blocking high is here to the east, and then the storm is button hooking in toward Newfoundland and Maine. And that's what's expected to happen with that. So over the Outer Banks, we're expected to see pretty much continued high surf conditions with that low over the next 3 days as it lingers in the offshore environment. And it's supposed to be cold and windy and pretty stormy along the Outer Banks. Let's go down to the wave models and look at the wave predictions. Right now, we've got the swells coming in the near offshore environment at about 8 to 9 feet. For tomorrow, near offshore waves are expected to be 10 to 11 feet. And for Monday, 9 to 10 feet. And then into Tuesday, dropping off into about the 6 foot range. So that's the roundup for the OBX wave report for this morning, where we discuss all things waves, weather, climate, and beach lifestyle. And hopefully I'll get back to you with a couple of special reports today. But as I typically do with my closing, I would like to ask all of you to please do everything you can to defend our beautiful coastlines from the impacts of climate change driven by fossil fuel burning. The primary action right now for all of us is to do everything we can to transition to clean energy rapidly, and then to do all the other things to help keep our Earth system and our life support systems and our stable climate systems for our Earth system stable and do all the sustainability things. So in any case, thank you for joining me, and I will be back with you for another wave report